And we're sustained with state politics, and this time we turn our focus onto the political crisis in Rivers State following a recent judgment by the Court of Appeal. Now, the judgment has sparked diverse interpretations and reactions among lawmakers and political observers. The political crisis in Rivers State remains unresolved despite a recent judgment by the Court of Appeal. The court ruled on the jurisdiction of the Rivers State High Court to hear a case involving the expulsion of 25 lawmakers loyal to former Governor Nyesom Wike.
However, the court did not address the legality of their defection or the declaration of their seats as vacant. A lawmaker supporting Governor Nyesom argue that the expulsion remains valid and that the Federal High Court is the appropriate venue to determine the legality of the lawmaker's defection. So to help us understand the implications of this ruling, the Publicity Secretary of the APC Caretaker Committee, Rivers State, Chibike Kenga, joins us via video chat. Thank you, Mr. Kenga, for joining us. Good morning to you.
Thank you for having me, and happy Sunday.
Thank you.
So, Mr. Kenga, what is your interpretation of the recent Court of Appeal judgment regarding the jurisdiction of Rivers State High Court? Because there's so many interpretations every single day, one party or the other is coming up with one or the other. What is your interpretation?
Well, we have no other interpretation other than the interpretation given by the Superior Court, which is the Court of Appeal, which has set aside all the action that we are taking pursuant to the decision of the Federal High Court in Rivers State about Martin Samesule's speakership and members of the Rivers State House of Assembly. Other than that, we have nothing else to say than to stick with what the Court of Appeal has said.
Right. And speaking about ruling, right, one has to ask about the impact, especially this ruling. How does it impact the political dynamics within the Rivers State House of Assembly?
Well, clearly, those who are obedient and comply with the extant rules and laws of the Federation, as well as court pronouncements, will continue to do so. And like we said, those who do not believe in rule of law, who want to take laws onto their own hands, will give various interpretations outside what the Court of Appeal had done so as to justify their actions that will, of course, continue to fester the crisis in Rivers State.
Okay, so Mr. Kenga, I want to take us back now, and let's take a look at this ruling. Now, the court has voided their sack. Now, this means that the 25 lawmakers are what exactly? Are they still sitting legislators of the House or not? Can they still execute or not? Or are they simply have they just simply been given back their positions per name but not per function? What exactly is the situation now in Rivers State with these 27 or rather 25 lawmakers?
Yeah, I do not know whether you are privy to the certified true copy of the Court of Appeal judgment. If you do have it, I'm sure you would have seen that clearly it had returned Speaker Martin Samesulle and the members of the Rivers State House of Assembly where they were before the crisis started, meaning that Martin Samesulle is the Speaker legally elected and supported by law and by the Court of Appeal judgment, and his members, they are still substantive members of the Assembly and hold their positions and will be acting on behalf of Rivers people accordingly.
And so then, what then will now be a clear path for the speakers then, in terms of just moving forward, giving this true certified copy ruling that you just described?
Well, they will resume their job and begin to make laws for the good governance of Rivers State to ensure proper accountability and transparency in the management of affairs of Rivers people. And that's exactly what the import of this Court of Appeal judgment. Because, you know, those who have created this crisis have completely distorted development, have over time created divisions and ensured that there was no progress, good governance was abandoned and all that. But with this Court of Appeal intervention, I'm sure that will get started properly, believing that everyone will obey this court order as it stands.
And what happens if everyone does not? Now, especially the governor, if they choose to go in another direction from the court ruling, what would happen in Rivers State regarding these offices?
Well, in a known path, is a known fact that but let's give them the benefit of that. But if you check their actions, immediately after the Court of Appeal judgment, the governor and his team went ahead to continue on the trajectory of illegalities by Okojumbo and friends who met and took some decisions outside their powers. Be that as it may, we do know that the only way you can reject or resist or disagree with the Court of Appeal judgment is for you to go upstairs to the Supreme Court. And that's the only legal way, the only opportunity you can challenge it. Any other thing that you do is resorting to self-help. And that's unconstitutional and continues to deepen the illegalities.
Now, I mean, let's look at the political instability in Rivers State, right? Would you say that APC has a fair share to blame in this ongoing political instability in Rivers State? And how then can you ensure effective governance, in addressing this instability?
APC is not involved in the shooting and maiming of Rivers citizens. It is PDP and Governor Fubara and his team that are involved in that, and the threats all over the place. The only thing APC is doing is that as an opposition party, we are very vocal, we are courageous to let the people know the failures and the inability of this government to perform and deliver on the promises they made. We have no blame to the part of the crisis. We are not in the assembly, we are not in the executive, we are not in the judiciary. But what we know is that we must continue our position to say when the governor does well, the government of Governor Fubara, we will applaud them. But as we speak, 1 year gone down the drain, it's a colossal failure. So if they say because we say the truth and tell the world how the failures have inhibited the growth of the people of Rivers State, that's part of how we are part of the crisis. That's most unfortunate.
So how then can you now address, work together? Instead of pointing fingers and saying you're the problem, how can APC and PDP and Governor Fubara move forward? You just said 1 year down the drain, move forward to really go back to the table to what really matters now, which is governance.
Yes, we are interested in good governance. It is the government that will pursue good governance. And when they do so, like I did say earlier, we will applaud them. When they show proper recourse to transparency and accountability, we'll all be good. But as we speak, they have not been doing so. We'll continue to dig deeper to ensure that they do so. That is our position as an opposition party. And we are willing to continue to go on that trajectory, to continue to let the world know how their failures have affected the living standards of the people. We will continue to do so, but working together, we don't create problems, but we must check their ancestors, check the executive rascality, and check even whatever the legislature does that is not in tandem with due processes and international best practices. We'll also bring it to the fore.
Yeah, but the executive personality you speak of is Governor Fubara. And you just said the last 1 year has gone down the drain, but so far we've seen him go to inaugurate works recently, different roads opening. There's also a hospital as well. He's been doing projects. Would you not say that he's done his best in spite of all of the tussle and the debacle going in the state? Wouldn't that be unfair?
No, he has not done projects. Those hospitals you are doing, we are completed by Chief Nyesom Wike. Maybe they just want to equip them and start. We know, everybody's aware of that. That 5, 6, 7-story buildings you see in Kana and other local government, Degema and all that, even in Nechie, were built and completed by the Chief Nyesom Wike administration. We are aware of that. We agree that government is a continuum. We believe that those are the things that he should do. But our problem is that the rate at which these things will be completed or inaugurated would have taken a faster time if the crisis or self-inflicted distractions were not there. So we believe that if those problems are properly put at bay, and then we pursue governance, the speed will be faster.
Well, Mr. Kenga, you call this self-inflicted distractions, but it's obviously one party against the other. It's the APC versus the PDP. You'd say that he is not doing projects, but then again, we have record that he is inaugurating these projects, albeit that they may be from previous administration. If not for the distractions from the APC, how much further do you think that Rivers State would have gone? We only hear about the political crisis from Rivers State. We do not hear about the good things. We do not even know or are absolutely aware aware how the state is governed with all the debacle that's happening in the background. Who exactly is governing Rivers State? Is it the courts or is it a governor at this point?
Or is it the
these
federal
distractions
might?
you speak of, are they self-inflicted or are they distractions from other opposition parties or parties that have broken off from the PDP? And if you'd be honest about that.
Well, I have always been very honest to the best of my ability. It depends on who is assessing. I want to repeat that APC is not part of the government. APC is an opposition, and our responsibility is fair and clear. We know what it is. What it is, you don't expect me to come and see where a government, no matter that the governor is my friend, and the governor is doing something that is not good, it's not uniting Rivers people, it's not building peace and consensus. You expect me to praise him? No, we will not do that. We will continue to let Rivers people know that, look, the governor ought to do this. The policies of the government are not in pursuit of your happiness. The policies and programs of the governor, of the government are slow. They ought to be faster. And that there is lack of transparency and accountability. We must say those things. And mind you, when you say the opposition, the distractions I said is self-inflicted, it's caused by APC. How is it caused by APC? We are not members of the government. We do not have positions in government. It is the governor. He is the chief executive of the state. The buck stops on his table. If he wants peace and progress in the state, he will do so. But his actions continually and continuously have tended to inhibit peace building, has tended to inhibit progress, development. That is the position.
So what should his position then be? In the last 1 year, if you're saying that his distractions have been self-inflicted, he's been, very difficult to work with, the APC had not taken positions in power, this is pretty much the PDP. So then what should his position then have been from the very beginning? You tell us.
Yeah, the position of a statesman who is the governor is first to mobilize the creative energies within the state for the progress of the state. Taking decisions that will, what utilitarians consider as summum bonum, that will ensure the greatest happiness of the greatest number of people in the state. Does not mean that some people may not disagree with him, but once it's on the proper trajectory of moving the state forward, that's what we would have had. You see our neighboring state, look at our Bible state, look at our Abia state. They are not involved in all these political crises because the governor makes proper consultations. The governor is interested in integration. The governor is interested in the well-being of the people.
Proper consultations with who?
And not a sectional policy maker.
Mr. Kinga, you said proper consultations with who?
Citizens of the state, owners of the state. We are the owners of the state. The citizens who elected him. And those citizens include both those who are in his party and those who are outside his party, those who support him and those who oppose him.
All right. Before I let you go, because we're pressed for time, I would like for you to respond to these claims. There have been accusations of federal might being used to influence the political outcomes in Rivers State. What's your response to those accusations of federal might?
We have been hearing of federal might, not only recently. When Dr. Odili was governor, we heard about federal might under Obasanjo. And then when Goodluck Jonathan was president, we heard about federal might used against Rotimi Amechi. We also heard that when President Buhari was president, we heard about federal might being used against Chief Nyesom Wike, who was governor then. So hearing about federal might now is already what we know. These are ways of trying to pursue your opponents, particularly those who have risen to get to the top of the federal government and you are at the state. So you want a way to blackmail them so as to say that that is the reason why you performed the way you did.
So in this case, who would that be then?
Yeah. But I'm very curious to know, in this case, who would this federal might be to their advantage? The APC or the PDP within the River State context?
If the APC is interested in using federal might against their PDP counterparts, why would President Bola Tinubu, who is the president of the country and APC leader, want peace to come to Rivers State? How did he midwife the peace process which the governor sidestepped. So if the president was interested in creating crisis or using a federal might against the state government, he would not in the first place have shown interest, because the governor himself ran to him to ask him to intervene, which he did. So who is using federal might, and where is the federal might? The issue is about
what about the influence of the federal, the minister of the Federal Capital Territory? What about his influence? What about talks and arguments that is in fact the reference to federal might here?
The Minister of Federal Capital Territory, you can see, is winning laurels. He's performing his responsibilities in Abuja, delivering on what is expected.
Does his influence extend into the crises of Rivers State, is what I'm asking.
Does he control the army? Does he control the air force?
Does his influence extend into this crisis?
Sorry, please. I didn't get that.
Yeah, I'm asking how much his influence is affecting the crisis in Rivers State.
The FCT minister is not a member of my party. He's a member of the PDP. So if they are disagreeing within PDP, the disagreement you're saying is disagreement between the House of Assembly and the executive, which is normal in a democracy. And then when such disagreements come in place, it is the responsibility of the judiciary to adjudicate and settle those crises. So that's where we are. But the executive is unwilling to abide by the prescriptions of the Constitution and decisions of the courts.
Well, I want to say thank you for your insights, GBK King. We appreciate you for doing this with us. It's very clear that the situation in Rivers State remains complex, and it will require careful legal process as well as a collaborative effort with both the opposition and the ruling party in the state. Again, many thanks for doing this with us. We appreciate you for coming on.
Thank you.
My pleasure.